It's another kind. Yeah. All right. Okay, we're back with another Jazz Matters podcast. Of course, featuring today Mr. Jordan Rich, master trumpeter, with us all the way from the great city of Montreal, Canada. And of course, we got Von Coulter here, the Jazz Beats Radio, and we wouldn't be able to do it without it. All right, cool, man. So let's go ahead and get it started.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, before we do it, we'd like for you to go to the Jazz Matters website, which is yesjazzmatters.org, and definitely like us. Also, you can also go to the Jazz Matters pages, which we have a Jazz Matters store, which you can see this kind of stuff here. You know, this is the real deal. All right, get your sweatshirt, t-shirt, hoodies, cups, whatever, hot sauce. It don't even matter. You know, just go to the Jazz Matters store and purchase a few of the items. Also, don't forget about the donate page. We are 501c3, so donations is our lifeline. So please donate to yesjazzmatters.org, and we'll be able to continue to do this. All right, let's jump right into it. Now, let's get right into it. Jordan?
Yes, sir.
All right, let everybody know who you are and where you're from, and also how you got in this music business.
All right, with pleasure. So I'm Jordan, as you've heard. I'm born and raised. I'm an Atlanta native, and I grew up different parts of Atlanta, and I got started in music when I was a young kid in elementary school. I went to a middle school called Stephenson Middle School, which was the feeder school to Stephenson High School, which is steeped in a tradition of marching band. So they started us way back, and this is the 90s, way back then, taking us to the high school to train with the marching band. And so I joined learning how to read music with my music teacher, Mr. Thomas, Mr. Nelson Render from the PR Experience, if anybody knows who that is. He taught me how to read music, and that's how I got started with the trumpet way back then. Yeah.
Okay, well, it sounds like it was so far away, but here we are. But we know that to us, when you say that way back then, to us, we feel like, wait a minute, that was last week, wasn't it? You know?
Yeah, think that. It was last week.
Yeah, but everything's cool. So now, tell us a little bit more about the type of music that you are pursuing at this point. I know you got some product online, and you can tell the people where they can go to listen to it. But basically the type of music that you really kind of have gravitated to since you've been, as a musician,
Yeah. So the type of music, I really can't put it in a box, but it, in a name, but I could do my best to say it's improvisational music, based on the all the African Black music, soul music. So I would say spiritual music at the end of the day. Anything that is jazz, soul, rhythm and blues, gospel, I call all that spiritual music. So that's what I'm after with my trumpet. I'll play the piano and keys with it. I'm in a band also with my wife, Chanda T. Holmes, and it's called Chanda and the Passengers. And you can find us at thepassengersband.com. You can find my links to my work at jordanrich.net. And you'll find me by the same name on SoundCloud, Bandcamp, and we're on Spotify. And so yeah, that's the type of work. So from funk all the way to improvisational jazz and that sort of thing.
Okay. As a matter of fact, Vaughn, is pretty much a jazz connoisseur, so to say, but at the same time, deeply enriched into the culture of the music from its beginnings as well as, present day. So Vaughn, is there anything you need to ask Jordan here?
Well, I will start off by saying this is interesting that you you're presently living in Montreal right now?
That's right. Yeah, I'm in Montreal. Cold. It's cold o'clock up here.
I'm sure. Know the difference between here and Georgia. I'm sure.
Right.
It's funny you should, because I just got through looking at a video of one of the I guess you would call him one of the grandfathers of popular music out of Montreal. And I was listening to classic Gino Vanelli. And so I was like, okay, all right. He did, him playing brother to brother, and it was, I was like, wow, that took me back. But I'm wondering, there's a feeling here in the States, and I think it was kind of brought up from another trumpeter, a brother in your instrument field by the name of Nicholas Payton, and he describes the music as called BAM, Black American music. And so, how did you come across that cross-pollination to focus your sound on that? How did that happen? Well,
yeah, great question. You that's a lot right there. Number one, shouts out to Nicholas Payton and what he's done with I believe it's called the Afrocentric mixtape and many other albums that he's done.
Absolutely.
He's very inspirational with what he's doing, leading the way for trumpeters, playing the piano and the trumpet at the same time, keeping that tradition like Rahsaan Roland Kirk, playing two instruments, splitting your mind. I'm into all that. So when you say BAM, I instantly identify with that because another one of my heroes, Rahsaan Roland Kirk, he called it Black classical music. And I'm down with that. And if you look at the history of many of the great players, they were trying to be classical players, from Alice Coltrane to Cannonball Adderley, and they didn't get those spots for whatever reason in the 60s. I mean, I guess we could guess why, but
You don't have to guess, it's out front now.
yeah, it's out
Exactly.
front now. You're right. And,
we know exactly what it's called. Race.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with that, me really, it started through hip hop. To be honest with you, I kind of went backwards. I remember when I was smaller, I would if it wasn't hip hop, I wasn't listening to it, and if it wasn't Southern hip hop, I wasn't listening to it until a friend of mine came by and said, "Hey man, you gotta listen to some New York hip hop, man." I was like, "I don't know, man, I don't know." And he introduced me to Nas, Illmatic, his first album. I was blown away. Q-Tip on production. They sampling Miles Davis. They sampling Oludara on trumpet, Nas's father.
Right.
What happened there is I end up looking at the credits, reading the credits, saying, okay, what is this music they're using? I learned more about Q-Tip. I find out about A Tribe Called Quest, and then my life changed instantly. I went backwards from hip hop to jazz, and then I'm bringing it back full circle.
Well, you didn't necessarily go backwards, believe it or not. Actually, what happened was you were just awakened by those musicians. You didn't go backwards because the thing is, the music is still present, and you got to look. But you found that rhythmic concept and sound, in your decade, and that's good to know, because for a lot of people, I think when they term something as going backwards, realistically, I'm one that never believed you cannot go back in time. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way I am. And but that's why I was saying you basically followed it. You know, you are here in present time. You know, you're just exposed to what's already there. You know what I'm saying? And then coming out with your concept from that. And that's the way it's supposed to be. That's called evolution, you know? When you go, there's only been, I think, I only have known of one entity that was supposed to go back in time, and that was the devil. And I know we aren't going to do that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, you basically found, what you really could relate to with your instrument, and it's always been here. It's never been on the back burner, but society sometimes put things like that in place for marketing purposes. They'll put the jazz music, take it off mainstream, so you don't get to hear that kind of stuff. But it's always there because those guys are still recording and stuff like that. But you just don't hear it because the powers that be that control mainstream radio don't want it played for it simply because of it. They feel that the commercial value is not there for them to make a lot of money off of, right? So therefore you got mainly you hear jazz now on, well, at least here in the States, you hear jazz mainly now on satellite radio and internet radio, Yeah. And that's where you're going to hear both the new stuff that everybody's cutting, as well as the old stuff, But it's great that you even reference those people, Tribe Called Quest and all that, because you hear it in their music. It's just that people like yourself should continue to educate people of your generation on where they actually got a lot of their rhythmic stuff from in their music, as well as the history of the music itself. So it's pretty much up to all of us, but mainly you because of your generation. You sitting right now on a keg that you can expose a lot of things to a lot of people. Simply because you are here now, you're of that generation. To only thing you can see now is growth, is evolution. A lot of people probably in your generation only see the mutation, which is not growth. You say it's a mutation. You know what I'm saying? It's two different things, evolution and mutation. Mutations ain't always good. Sometimes, most of the time, it's bad.
Yeah.
So the thing is, man, it's great that you're headed in this direction, as well as the direction you was telling me us earlier about the funk situation. And it's kind of funny to me that, when you hear funk, the word funk, and you hear like jazz, like straight ahead jazz, to some people of the now generation, they equate both of those with being in the past. You see what I'm saying? But they're not really in the past. You know what I'm saying? They're here all the time. They're present. It's the exposure to them is what the problem is. So I think that like groups like yours, Jordan, could actually expose all that stuff, man. You're pretty much in a situation to where you can give all this to the world, everything that's out there, and let them know, like, okay, this is where we are. You know what I'm saying? It ain't that we got to grow this way or that way. You got to get wherever you are right now. This is where we are. This is the makeup. This is the thing that allows you to keep it going. You know what I'm saying? You'll be the next Nicholas Payton. You see what I'm saying? And as long as you keep that forward attitude towards the music, I think that'll work out. What do you think about that, Vaughn?
I think it's a strong place to be at. I don't know what it is about these trumpeters, Nick P. You've got the late and the great and never late Roy Hargrove.
Right.
All these cats, man. I mean, I think about Miles right now. I'm thinking about what he forged ahead, and how he kept expanding the boundaries of what this music could be. with the young cats he had under his wing, you know, and what he taught them and how they branched out and did their own thing and how they kept expanding the boundaries. So, you know, it's like Edwin said, it's to me, stagnation mutates the art form. And so you have to evolve it into another area, keep that thing going, man. You know, I'm impressed that you would take that responsibility on, which is cool, you know, because everybody they have to be on a mission with this, you know, because popular music really is not moving. It is what it is, and it's standing still. I was listening to James M. Toomey called it the celebration of mediocrity. And so, you know, you got to get beyond that. And it's interesting because I remember it rings so true in what Miles told him. He said, once you create something, burn that bridge. Don't go back over that bridge no more. Keep it moving, keep it expanding, right. You know. And I feel like you know what he's talking about in that respect.
I feel it, man. I mean, I agree 100%. And the music, what we can do is infinite. And to dovetail off your point about popular music, I think popular music is gonna probably be all like that always. And that's because I would rather call it safe music. It's safe, you know,
exactly.
for to use tried and true formulas to create a hit record. There's nothing wrong with a hit record. Shoot, I could use a couple of hit records, you know. Nothing wrong with a hit record. You know what I mean? I mean, even John Coltrane understood that when he did My Favorite Things and turned that into something. So, you know, you could take some of the most or Sonny Rollins with the St. Thomas, man. And you know,
St. Thomas.
like, you know, you listen, that's the calypso, man. My wife, she loves the calypso music, and she, you know, and you know, soca and all that stuff. She's introducing me to the Caribbean flavor of what they're doing. So you could take that, you can make a pop song, but you're still saying something, you know.
There you go.
You know, and that's in saying something. I didn't coin that first, you know. One of my other heroes, he's a cornetist. His name is Nat Adderley. Nat Adderley. He has an album called "Saying Something," and I really know exactly what he meant by that when I listened to it. You know, his son still around, Nat Adderley Jr. You know, so yeah.
Yeah, man. So now tell me what the scene is right now, where you are in Montreal. I know as far as what I mean by right now, has since the pandemic, how much has changed up there?
Man. Oh man, this city, see, Montreal has, number one, it has a big history connected to you. Like, I just want to take it just a step back for those who may not know. Montreal has a deep rooted connection with America, you know, with and when it comes to music and jazz in particular as well, when you got the likes of Oscar Peterson, you know, who celebrated Black pianists. And so, you know, to take it there, New York is only 8 hours away from us, the drive. We're just above Vermont. So we're right there. So the jazz scene has always been here. That's the point I wanted to make. And according to some of the older heads that I talked to, I know a sax player by the name of Dr. Sax, he would tell me stories about how between here and Toronto, how it was always happening. You got the Montreal Jazz Fest. If you could look at a lot of historical concerts that happen right here, from Miles Davis, the Marsalis brothers, and on and on and on. It just all kind of super, super talented jazz giants have come through this city. So Montreal is known as a a festival city as well. So there's so many different festivals that come through. But once the pandemic hit, it kind of stopped all. It's not kind of. It stopped all of that in its tracks. And we just last year we had the Montreal Jazz Festival, and it was somewhat live, but it was more so virtual. And so we have a lot of cafes and we have a lot of little smaller venues here, and people really appreciate live music here. A lot of businesses and cafes have closed down because of the different restrictions. We had a place called L'Escalier. I mean, it's been there for the longest. One of the best venues. That's one of our home band venues. Closed down. It was sad, So with the music, we're fighting to bring it back. We just got the restrictions lifted, and music can be played at 50% capacity restaurants. So it's slowly coming back, but the pandemic really hit, hard, the creatives. So I've seen people outside, the buskers, they playing with a mask on, in the metro station. During the summertime, I saw a psychedelic school bus pull up in a park, and they just started playing guitars outside. It's like, people gonna fight for the music here and do their thing wherever they can.
This year, we have had some restrictions also lifted, but I'm thinking everybody's looking pretty much in the month of March, that things will really get opened up a little bit more than they are now, because for whatever reason they're looking at, of course they're tracking the numbers, but at the same time, the musicians around here, they're so eager, as well as the fans. I mean, the people here are so tired of being cooped up, and it's about time, that now if everybody get on board and decide to do the right thing, you know what I'm saying, get vaccinated or whatever you got to do, then we'll be in the mix way sooner. But until we can get the mindset of the people to say, well, hey, if you want to be as much normal as possible, just get with the program. You know what I'm saying? But on the other end of the music, in what you're doing, you're working on some new material, and can you give us a little insight on what, where you're going? Are you going more to the funk, or are you going more to a contemporary funk style?
Well, I'm recording right now. I do have a solo project outside of my work with the Passengers that I'm working on. The Passengers, that's funk all the time, every time, on time. So the funk ain't gonna die with the band, the funk band, and then with what I do, it's kind of all over the place. So right now, the number of tracks that I have, I'm recording, I'm looking at it more of an ode to where I'm from, which is Atlanta. So I'm gonna bring some of those elements into it. So the type of music that it has is if I could describe it, it's minimal. It's minimal from a standpoint of how hip hop is minimal, but I'm taking that same minimalism with stripped down. I'm not using a lot of instruments. I'm using just a piano. I'm using a bass, my trumpet. I have a kalimba, and certain sounds like that. And I'm layering them and layering, layers of sound. So that kind of thing is to come. And I do also take Capoeira, which is a Afro-Brazilian martial arts.
Yeah.
And the big part of Capoeira is the music. That's the biggest part of it, is the music and the song. It's very spiritual, and it's really powerful. So they have very basic African instruments and basic rhythms. Rhythms 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's a simple thing, but you could do a lot with that. So I'm influenced by a lot of this right now, and I'm just bringing that all home. And I can't wait to release it, really, and give this to the world, because it's an ode to where I'm from and where I'm at right now.
Yeah. When can we expect that? Probably is that late spring or?
Yeah, late spring.
Okay.
Yeah, late spring. I should be done with everything. Yeah, and mastered and released to all major platforms. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Now, I was going to get Vaughn to check with you on also to ask if on Jazz Beats on the radio program, when you mentioned the fact that the different you're kind of moving into a different concept of where you want to put your music, like you say, with less instruments and basically some native instruments from the African continent. Is it going to be a situation where are you incorporating vocals or anything like that in the music?
Yes, of course. And I meant to say heavy bass. Bass is how
if you're gonna do some funk, you got to have that bass line, man.
Bass, and to be honest, and just I'm gonna answer your question you just asked, but bass is a heavy part of what I'm doing, and that's upright and electric. I find that the electric bass has the sound feels really, even though it's electric, it feels natural. It feels like a natural sound, similar to how the upright sounds to me, and the way a bass player can play it and move very fast and agile with the different time signatures that you work with. So yeah, heavy bass. A lot of times when I write songs, I start with bass. That's what turns me on to a song. Now, your question about can you refresh me one more time about your question? Sorry about that.
Well, basically, how you were I was asking if you were incorporating the vocals.
Yes.
In the music and everything,
Yes.
Is it you singing or you have an outside singer?
Yeah, I have Chanda T. Holmes. She's helping me with but also me. Yeah, I'll be singing. I'm gonna sing and I'm gonna hum. I'm gonna make sounds, all kind of sounds. I'm just gonna, whatever comes out, comes out. And also a little bit of spoken word on it. Spoken word, or you could, I guess you could just call it rapping. Because if you think about it, Gil Scott Heron, he was rapping. That's what he was doing. He was rapping and singing.
Yeah, I call it lyrical improvisation.
Lyrical improvisation. So that's what I'm doing with the lyrical content. So it's not all only instrumental. Right. It'll also incorporate lyrics.
Man, but you definitely gotta keep me up on that, so that I can, you can shoot it down to me, and we can work it up. Definitely shoot it over to Vaughn, because he has the format.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He got it. So
and I stretch the boundaries. I don't. Although the program director of the radio station, he put it together as primarily smooth jazz, but I kind of convinced him this is because the model of the jazz radio station is called the Beats of the World. I said, well, you're cutting your nose off in spite of your face, because you can't do this music and you want to be the beats of the world. You have to adapt to it. So I gave him, I give him Brazilian, I give him Latin, I give him jazz from the Pacific Rim, Europe, all over the world. It's that universal and it's that global. So you know, I'm glad he's kind of looking at it that way now. Yeah, so that's what I brought to the table.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful that you touching all over the world in a different world, because I believe now is the best time, more than ever in history, for artists, young and old alike and in between, to release their own music and put it out to the world and get heard, because more artists are more empowered with all the tools that are available, and to have an outlet such as yours and people like you doing that good work to allow different sounds to be heard. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, man, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. I'm commissioned to do this. So, you know, I'm looking at it like, if it's great music, I mean, if it's music that touches the soul of us, it's going to get played. That's how I look at it.
I believe it.
So you got an outlet there. So definitely keep us up on what you're doing.
Yes, sir.
And, also on the other end of the group, the funk end, the group that you have that you playing funk with a lot. Are they recording also at the same time, or how is it?
Yep.
Get that going?
Yeah, we are recording. We got another studio date coming up for March. Actually, we have a studio date. It's a 7-piece band, so putting that together is it's a challenge, because you got to make sure we're rehearsed and all that, because our sound, our best sound is when we play together. Some bands can probably, during the pandemic, I've noticed a lot of bands, they were still able to perform and do shows, do things online. But for us, it was a bit of a challenge, because we feed off of each other's connection. And it was a little bit difficult. We tried it. We definitely tried it, but it was difficult to do it. So yeah, we're in the studio. We got a studio day. We got songs getting mixed down right now as we speak. And yeah, you can find some stuff. We got an EP called Medicinal Love that's on all the major platforms for music right now. So,
I've talked to a lot of other musicians that tried the virtual thing, including myself, and it seemed like a good idea, but like you said, since we are social creatures, we have to feed off of that audience, and that's our best performance. If it's a virtual thing and where you don't have an audience in there as you do the virtual, it kind of takes away from the creativity, I think. And I kind of experienced that when I was doing it. I was like, wow, I said, this would be great to get the feedback, to give you a little bit more to work with, other than, just being in a cold, dark room, by yourself. But having that audience means so much to any artist. I can imagine what a vocalist has to go through in a virtual environment like that. You know what I'm saying? That is just one of those kind of things where that I can see that being very difficult. Because I mean, like I said, I did some moves that last year, and it was okay, but then again, it felt more like a rehearsal of sorts. Kind of like a rehearsal or a studio date that was kind of stripped down, so to say. You didn't have as much energy in the room. You had to create your own energy, which forced you to kind of play with a little more. You either had to make a decision. I'm playing like a studio musician. Am I going to play like a musician with an audience? But when you try to convince your mind the audience is there, it ain't there. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of figure it out right there on the spot. But I hope things open back up, and I really hope things open back up soon, because I know most musicians down here are pretty much stir crazy, trying to do things, and and it's a good thing. I hope that there will be enough places opening back up also that will allow us to go and do these different things. Now, I do have I have an organization down here called Jazz Matters. It is a nonprofit organization, and we usually do a concert series, which is like a summer concert series where we have it going through the summer months. Pandemic, of course, shut us down last year, but we were brave enough to try to do one concert. But what we got out of it, we were so surprised at how many people actually showed up. You know, and now this is an outdoor event, right? So we were expecting minimal, group of people. But instead, we pretty much had a very large crowd. And even though the weather itself, it rained and everything, but 90% of the people stayed, even while it was raining. 90% of them stayed, which told me right then and there, the hunger is greater than I thought it was for people to go out and see live entertainment. I mean, it was almost like I couldn't believe that they would stay. And Vaughn was there. Vaughn could tell you how hard it rained. Even though it did not rain all night or nothing like that, the downpour was something like what, about 30 minutes maybe?
30 minutes. It was pretty intense.
Yeah, but it was really hard. But it was the point that nobody, just about, like I said, 90% of the people stayed.
Yeah.
And they,
power of music.
Yeah, and they
Power of the music. You said it.
I'm telling you, it was amazing. I was like, people are really desperate for live entertainment.
It's you know what, you make me think of something, man. The power of things that we cannot see. We got a worldwide pandemic going on. Whether someone believes in it or not, doesn't matter. Something that we can't see affecting this whole entire planet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Whether you believe it or not. And then you tell me this story, and it just shows a testament of music, which you can't see music. You cannot see it.
Right.
But it affects people the same way, worldwide, whether you believe in someone's music or not.
Yeah.
Let me expand on that for you. Let me give you the byline. M. Toomey said the same thing. It's the music. It's the only art form that can touch you.
That's it. That's it.
I know. When I heard it, I had to back up too. I said, "Oh my gosh, the wisdom behind that, the reality of it is, it's just like, what?"
Right.
It's the only art form that can touch you.
The real thing that I'm looking at is, like, of course, with the pandemic and everything, and its relationship to music, we lost a lot of great musicians during the pandemic. But that was just the price, that we basically had to pay. So the thing was, that's power, that unseen power of the music itself. Basically it was that everybody that was shut down in especially the first wave, everybody that was shut down anyway, all that energy, man, was basically released once they got a chance to go out. So that all that negative, which was the pandemic itself, was overcome by the positivity of the people trying to continue to live, to be people. And music was the thing that brought everybody outdoors. No question about it. It was the thing that brought everybody out. Now, even those that were, let's say, party people, the spring breaker type people, you know what I'm saying? They still had to go, not just for the crowd, but you had to have that music, that substance there to keep everybody, you know what I'm saying, with a certain way of thinking. It's still with music, man. So Jordan, what do you think, man, about these younger musicians that are coming up, and you're trying to? I think the image is changing very slow, but it is changing. About them getting more into jazz.
Oh yeah, that's a good question. What do I think? So, when I go home, when I'm back home in Atlanta, or in really not just home, but really anywhere I'm around people younger than myself, I'll ask the kids, "Hey, what you listening to? What's going on?" Because it helps me stay, whether I like what I hear or not, I'll check it out. Someone's like, "Yeah, I'm listening to the Baby. I'm listening to the NBA Boy. I'm listening to all these people," and I'm like, okay. I don't know if I can say I've heard a lot of younger people say that they specifically are into jazz, at least the ones I've come across. But at the same time, when I listen to the music that they're listening to, a lot of these artists are taking rhythm and blues and jazz elements and putting it in there. So a lot of times these younger people are listening to our music, listening to, this thing and don't even know it. And you're about to say something,
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's been going on since the 1980s, man.
Yeah,
They don't know who they're listening to.
Right.
And
but
sample, they were sampling back then. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did. And my focus is always going to be like, I'll play them the original and they'll be like, wait a minute, that's so-and-so and so-and-so. And I'm like, yeah, it is. But this is who created it,
Right.
I'll let you know. I mean, if it's back in the day, they were taking stuff from Donald Byrd and Bob James and I mean, you talked about Tribe Called Quest earlier, and they, Ronnie Foster was like the impetus for that first album they did, and they acknowledged that. Yeah. It's just, and the thing about it is you see the trend kind of continuing, but along came a guy named Jay Dilla out of Detroit who developed it into him adding his own flavor to it. And he expanded some of the stuff, on the ones and twos, but yet still he acknowledged where he got that sound from, But, all I'm trying to do is inform them, like Edwin has told me, you can't reinvent the wheel. It is what it is. It's going to roll, it's going to turn, it's going to get you from point A to point B. But over that time, there's only been 12 notes to the scale. If you can't change that vibe, you're just repeating what has already been out there.
Right. Yeah.
What's going on. And they have, what I like about it is they respect that sound. They respect it.
Oh, yeah.
Because they really don't have the tools at their disposal to do anything with it. So they go to the ones and twos. They go to the crates. They pull out this certain album that their parents might have been listening to years ago, turn it on and listen to it and snatch a piece of it and start rapping over top of it. So, but it's not, it's really not expanding the boundaries. You're just continuing on with what's already been done, But
yeah, I mean,
it's creative, it's creative.
Yeah, it is. I mean, well, I got a slightly kind of a different view about sampling. Sampling, number one, is hard to do it well.
Yeah. If you do it well, I mean, you got to really match up and really create a rhythm out of you got to create a rhythm out of it. And I've seen some of the days that were present during the height of house music, and so they made it an art form, and just knowing the factors behind all of that is that during that time period, that's when schools were closing down their music programs, eliminating lessons and band and orchestra, And these kids didn't have anything left during that late 70s, early 80s period. So what did they do? They went to the DJs. The DJs created them rhythms out of the turntables and snatched sounds from certain albums, and and now we got what we got. But
yeah,
like I said, in our culture, we can make something out of nothing.
you got that right.
So that's how we do.
Yeah,
We're not going to still and let things just flourish as is. We're going to evolve it into something else. And that's the culture of our people. Absolutely. Making something out of nothing.
Making something out of nothing. I mean, you're absolutely right, because one of my favorite producers, one of my favorite hip hop producers, Timbaland, there's a video of him making a beat out of, I believe, a paper clip and a cup, and he tore that beat up. I mean, he made something bananas with it. And what these guys do, when people just call them a beatsmith or a beat maker or a producer, I think is doing these people, these artists, is doing them a disservice. So a lot of them are composers. They may not know that they're a composer, but they're composing, and also when it comes to hip hop or just modern music, from my opinion, from my standpoint, a lot of them are performing jazz and keeping that jazz tradition alive. It's just in a different form. When I watch the BET Awards and I look at the hip hop cipher, and you see them going around in a circle, rhyming, freestyling to the beat, freestyling to the rhythm, playing off of each other, feeding off each other. They keeping that alive, like how Wynton Marsalis says, y'all want to see what democracy look like. Look at jazz, right? Same thing with what I see with hip hop. So Edwin, to bring it back to your question, I also don't think that I think more increasingly people are not, at least younger people are not really looking at genres per se. I think a lot of them are looking at the artists that they listen to, because a lot of these artists are going across different genres. If you look at someone like Drake, he's not just a hip hop artist. He's got going into the R&B. He's going here. He's going there, and so I think that's a good thing that people are more so looking at the artist. It could also be a bad thing, because you get into the artist's life and it's more than just the music. But I think more people are looking at the younger people are looking more at artists and what is their music. And I think that when I look back at the old school people like Miles Davis, and you listen to some interviews where they say, "Hey, I don't like the word jazz. Why don't you just call it this music?" And I understand where they're coming from. I don't take offense to the word jazz, because when most people say jazz, the word, they say it out of respect. They say jazz as in this is it. So I know what you mean. The older people looking at it from the old way of what jazz meant, which was noise, or that's just that jazz them black people playing, you know what I mean? But I think it's kind of, the term has been co-opted for a positive outlet. It's going to be rare in the 21st century you're going to hear someone say jazz in a derogatory way, unless it's in a conversation and they say, yeah, such and all that jazz. But that's an old school slang, you know what I mean?
That is.
So yeah.
So Jordan, tell us a little bit about, you just did a documentary, right?
Yeah,
so tell us a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, it's supposed to come out pretty soon, I believe, in February, in a few days, actually, I think next week. And it's with the New York Times, where they did like a interview with me, and it's a small interview, just about my life and how I came into this music thing and my interests and my views about journalism and how important I think journalism is and how it affects my life. It was a pleasure working with them, and I can't wait for it to come out and to to the world. And even right now, this is journalism, and I think this is important. Someone told me, not told me, but I heard this somewhere. I want to say it was the movie director, David Lynch, a famous film director, and famous made a lot of famous commercials as well.
Yeah.
He said, someone asked, I believe it was him. Hopefully I'm not misquoting this guy, but someone generally asked him, like, how did you get so good? And, how did you do all this? And he said, it's easy. Just tell the truth, and I think, with journalism and what you're doing and in art, and that's what I love about music, is it's my way of telling the truth. It keeps you honest. When you're really trying to create, you can't do nothing but be naked and honest. And it's a wonderful thing. So with journalism in this day more than ever, man, we need good journalists that believe in telling the truth and good journalism, and it's crazy how someone who's after the truth nowadays, they're like, oh, you're a truther. It's like it's
like that's a bad thing.
Yeah. So that just shows you the state of affairs that we're in with, and I get it. The lack of trust in journalism and the media, I get it. I don't trust any. I mean, mama taught me, don't believe everything you see on TV. That rule, that lesson still rings true.
Right.
So now within your, as far as the documentary goes, what format are we able to see it on?
I'm not 100% sure. I know it's going to be in film. I know it's going to hit TV. I imagine it's going to hit the web. It's going to hit the web. Possibly it might be on YouTube. I'm really not sure. I'm not 100% on all the details, And it was just to mention, it was a pleasure working with you on it. As we were creating this thing at Northside Tavern, which is a great spot in Atlanta. It's been there for a very long time, and as long as I can remember, at least musically, and where you can hear some good blues. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the format, I'm not 100% sure on all the details. This is my first time kind of doing something like this. So
like you said, but it will be released this month.
Yeah, this month. Yeah, for sure.
It's probably going to be on some of the TV formats like Roku or different formats like that, maybe Paramount, whatever. We're going to be looking, but I'll be looking for it and to try to see what we can get. See if we can get it, get into it, and maybe get you back in here, kind of like comment on it, do some other things on it,
Yeah, why not? It'd be a pleasure.
Oh yeah, and I know that you probably are thinking, like you're ready to play now. I know that, I am too. But the thing is, are you going to come out with your new project as your tool to come out with first once things open up, or are you going to go with the phone?
All right. Well, with my plan, with my personal my solo release is more so I'm just releasing it. I'm releasing. I have a different point of view when it comes to I would say the marketing and the use of music. So I'm more under right now under like content creation mode. I'm just trying to record and release, and have the content available. And as far as with the band, we're releasing it. We're taking more of a traditional route of release and promote, and we're applying for festivals to be a part of. We really are looking forward to being able to play at some big festivals like we did a few years ago. So Chanda, she just did the Montreal Jazz Festival. We have L'Afrique Nuit, which is Nuit d'Afrique. It's the Night of the Africans, and that's a wonderful festival that the band got to do pre-pandemic. So yeah.
Vaughn, you got anything else to lay out there before we?
I just want, I'm going to ask one of my favorite questions, like, who are you listening to, Jordan?
Oh, who am I listening to? Okay, well, you know what?
What's in your MP3 player?
What's in my MP? Oh man, I don't have it. I got an iPod actually. I got it. I got an old iPod. Yeah, but yeah. I'll tell you what's on my playlist right now.
All right.
I'll just, we have the luxury of I'm online right now with y'all. I could just pull up my playlist right now and pull up what my likes are. Let's see. Oh, I'll give me a few minutes. I just found out this guy by the name of Big Rube from Atlanta. He's the one that did a lot of spoken word on Outkast, a lot of Outkast's albums.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful spoken word. Found out he has a group and he released an album. I didn't even know this. So it's an album by the name of called Brainchild. And his group is called Society of Soul. So I've been listening to that. I've been listening to some, I got Willie Dixon.
Oh,
wow.
Poet of Blues.
Yeah.
Listening to.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. But that's okay.
I'm like you. I didn't expect it either.
Yeah, Willie Dixon, man. Yeah, that's some good stuff right there.
You're a young old soul.
Yeah, I go from Outkast to Willie Dixon.
Yeah, that's
for me, that's not a big jump.
Oh, it's a jump, bro. It's a jump.
Because I don't like to speak like this, but I feel like if some of these people were still alive, they would be working with some of these folks. I just think,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm just scrolling up. I'm just going to name names of whatever I see.
Sure.
I got Freddie Hubbard, Guru, Nadia Davenport, MF Doom, Freddie Hubbard again, Benny Maupin.
Wow. Okay.
The Whispers.
Oh, okay.
Let's see, the RH Factor. Let's see, John Schofield, a go-go. So
wow.
Got a whole collage of different forms.
Which is good.
Yeah. Because all those people, the majority of it are naming them. They're in their own rights, they're giants. At the same time, what I'm saying, that just goes to show how the music, is not in the past situation like we were talking about earlier, how it's just as present, it's just a matter of being exposed. You know what I'm saying?
Being exposed, man. Yeah, I mean,
present, right here, there. So
yeah, man.
Well, anyway, man, it's been good talking to you.
Yeah, man. And, it was a pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
And we'll do this again, for sure.
Oh, I look forward to it. I look forward
to seeing you guys, seeing the band and everything here in the States whenever you're around. If that's, that could be a possibility.
We are open to it. Everybody in the band is ready and able and willing to play wherever. I told my wife I will play in the metro subway for free. I I just want to play.
Yeah,
But I need money. I need money though. Don't get it twisted.
yeah. I'm not gonna get it twisted. I know that's the case too. But and it's the same way here with everybody else. Everybody just wants to play. They don't really care where it is. They just want to play. Because being cooping up a musician for this long a period of time is not a good thing. It is not a good thing. So we gotta go ahead and relieve some of that stress, man. But
Yes, sir.
before we go, just let everybody know how they can contact you. Whatever platforms you're using, if they want to learn more about you and about your music and everything.
Yeah. So, and I'm gonna take this time to say this. I'm a big proponent of own your data. I'm a nerd as well. I'm a tech nerd. So I would say people need to own their data, and I think the biggest way that people can own their data is to have your own website. Have your own website, because you don't got to worry about somebody taking you down. You can say whatever it is you want to say, and express yourself. Now, with that said, the best way to reach me and contact me and see what is happening with me is my website, jordanrich.net. You go there. I got a contact form. You can hit me up if you want to collaborate on something, or if you just want to talk, or whatever it is, any bookings, business inquiries, I'm open to it. jordanrich.net is where you can find me. My music, you can find a lot of it on SoundCloud and Bandcamp right now. I've yet to have a release on Spotify, but this upcoming release will be on Spotify. But all my happiness is on jordanrich.net. And my band is thepassengersband.com. You go there, you'll check out the happiness of what's going on with us as well.
All right. So, Vaughn, let's leave them with your information.
Yep. You can find me at jazzbeatsradio.com. That is the webpage for the radio station. You can see my bio and pretty much I got the my list of last year's, my top 25, I think it is, my top 20 of jazz favorites for 2021. And so, I'm kind of across the board. I love what I do. You can also find me at voncoulter.anbs. That stands for Ain't Nothing But Soul at hotmail.com. That's voncoulter.ain'tnothingbutsoul, ANBS, at hotmail.com. Oh, and that's where you send your MP3s to, by the way.
Okay. Make sure we got that cleared up. You can, I'm Edwin Williams, and you can, of course, get me at yesjazzmatters.org. And when you do that, just make sure you don't pass over the donate page, because that's 501c3. That's the lifeline. So that's yesjazzmatters.org. And thanks again, Jordan. And I'm glad
Thank you, Edwin.
got
Thank
this.
you,
And we'll be seeing you and being in touch with you, as time moves on, and hopefully when things open up, we'll even have a better shot at trying to see if I can get you down.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Edwin, for having me on. Nice to meet you again, Vaughn. Great talking with you both.
Yeah, I'm praying for you, brother. Okay.
Yeah.
Stay
Yes, sir.
safe out there.
Likewise, praying for you all as well.
need you. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thanks a lot, man. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, I'm here.
Young brother. And
Oh man, he's money. He's money, man.
he's good. I think he's gonna go far, man. I think it's just a matter of everybody pulling themselves up out of the sand once this thing clears up. And we'll probably be hearing from it, on a lot of stuff. He's driving, he still got to drive.
Oh, oh my gosh. And he came along through the marching band circuit. That's the thing that gets me, is like, what? And that's a rarity.
Yeah.
I'll say because that's an atmosphere that breeds a lot of musicians. But a lot of them kind of think that they're, once their marching band career is over, they move on to something else.
Yeah.
You know.
A lot of them think of that.
Yeah.
But it's exposure and being exposed to, the things after.
Yeah.
You could tell all.
And it was fortunate that he was under those band instructors that taught him how to read too.
Yeah. That's always a good thing. So you can work, and by him being in IT like that, web design type stuff. See, it's all relative. It's always,
Yeah.
And that's probably why he'll continue to, put things out. Continue to be on the forefront of the music as well as technology, which is a good thing especially for a musician. That kind of reminds me of Herbie Hancock being on the forefront of the music as well as the technology.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Right there at the beginning of all of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. So we got one down, we got another one down, and I know it's time for us to get on out of here, but you know what I'm saying, it's been great, man. I think our next we have a couple other people lined up, and we're gonna try to get them in as early as tomorrow. So I'll hit you up with email to confirm it.
You got any names right now, or just you just kind of?
Yeah, I have
you had Ojeda change for
go and come in tomorrow at 2.
tomorrow too.
And then we're supposed to have I got 2 people at the same time.
Oh.
No, sorry. I got one at 12.
Okay.
I got one at 12, and then I got Ojeda at 2.
Okay.
So
who's coming at noon?
A friend of mine named Mark Mitchell.
Mark Mitchell?
Yeah, Mark Mitchell. He's down in Perry, Georgia. And he's one of the instructors over there at the Mitchell's Academy of Arts.
Okay.
Piano player. We used to be on the Chitlin circuit together back in the day. But I'm getting up here to talk to him because he's fun. He got a lot of history, most of it, of course, in the R&B circuit and everything. And I think he leaned more into jazz since he teaches down at the Mitchell's
right.
Arts Academy. So we'll have those 2 on tomorrow, and we'll lock those down. Like I said, I'm trying to fill up the calendar as much as I can, so that by probably by the middle of the month you have enough to start airing. I'm looking at now trying to get at least another month's worth of stuff before we go on vacation.
Right.
So then another one.
Yeah. It's I think it's been a great week, to tell you the truth, or last 2 weeks. I'm looking at my calendar and it's like, The
next few weeks coming up will be pretty interesting also. But there are some pretty interesting people that are coming on. So until then, man, I will see you then.
You got it, brother.
All right. Peace, man.
Peace.